Hello, welcome to Matrix of Tech. We are the robust automation testers. This short video is a demonstration on UFT to Essential Test migration. Following are the migration steps, which includes conversion of UFT data table to Essential Test data table, conversion of UFT objects to Essential Test app objects, conversion of UFT steps to Essential Test steps, and finally we have the conversion of UFT tests to Essential Test tests. Firstly, let's have a look into the conversion of UFT data table to Essential Test data table. An UFT data table is similar to Microsoft Excel data table that helps the testers to create data-driven test cases that can be used to run an action multiple times. Here, each test has one global datasheet that is accessible across multiple actions. And this is a data table where the result directory path is written. Here, firstly, the default .xls file is converted to CSV format, and then we convert that CSV file into Essential Test data table format. So the converted DS file is the folder location where the converted Essential Test data table resides. Well, we have developed inbuilt steps to convert UFT Excel data table to Essential Test data table. So now let's execute and look into how the conversion is performed in Essential Test. Well, the execution has been completed successfully. Let's navigate to the location where the data table has been generated. So the data table dt underscore global.ds and dt underscore write result directory path.ds has been generated here. So this is the converted data table. Now in order to import the data table in Essential Test, let's navigate to Essential Test, right click on data tables and select import data table. Now move to the location where the converted data table is located and select the data table and click on open. So you can find the data table has been generated in Essential Test. So the data table has been imported and their respective record and the list has also been present. So this is how we convert the UFT data table into Essential Test data table. Next, let's look into the conversion of UFT objects into Essential Test objects. In UFT, the object repository is in the TSR file format. By using the object repository manager, the TSR file is exported to XML file, which is then converted to the text file format. Well, this is the UFT repository file. You can notice there are n number of properties for UFT objects, whereas in Essential Test we pick only few object properties to make the app objects unique. So the AT object files is the folder location where the converted Essential Test app object repository file resides. Well, let's execute and look into the app object conversion now. Well, here's the script for converting the UFT app objects to Essential Test app objects. Click on Run for execution. Well, the execution has been completed successfully. Well, let's now navigate to the folder location where the file has been generated. So this is the file where UFT app objects have been converted into AscentialTest app objects. So we just need to copy this line of code and place it in AscentialTest. To do so, we have separate Z files. We have a converted AscentialTest app object repository Z file where we need to place that particular code. There are a few compilation errors which is due to the ambiguity where we can find there are objects of the same name. So these compile errors can be resolved by renaming. Well, you can notice that the UFT app objects have been converted into AscentialTest app objects with the appropriate properties. Also, the indentation of UFT objects with respect to AscentialTest objects are different. Hence, we have developed our own utility functions to line it up with the code. Well, this is how we convert UFT objects into AscentialTest app objects. Next, let's look into the conversion of UFT steps to AscentialTest steps. Well, the UFT step file is of MTS format, which is converted to the text file format and conversion takes place. This is the script text file which contains the UFT steps. AT step files is the folder location where the converted AscentialTest steps file resides. Now let's execute and look into the conversion of steps. Well, we have developed our own utilities for converting the UFT script into AscentialTest steps. Let's execute. In order to do so, click on Run and click on OK. The execution has been completed. Now let's navigate to the folder location to check for the converted step file. So this is a converted AscentialTest step file. Let's copy this code and navigate to AscentialTest and place them under Z file called UFT steps. Here we also find few compile errors which needs to be resolved with respect to AscentialTest format. So this is the UFT converted step to AscentialTest step, which includes all the actions performed along with the step info and the parameters in the AscentialTest format along with proper indentation of the code. This is how we convert the UFT script into AscentialTest steps. Next, let's look into the conversion of UFT tests to AscentialTest tests. Action 0 folder in the UFT project consists of script.mts file which contains all the steps, the test parameters and iteration count. Also, the description and the test case name are fetched from the test.tsp file. Well, we convert the test script file into text format and this is how it looks, where it consists of all the steps along with their iterations and the parameters. Well, the ATTC files is the folder location where the converted AscentialTest test file reside. Now let's execute and look into the conversion of tests. So click on Run. The execution has been completed. Now let's navigate to the folder path where the test file is generated. So this is the test file. So let's copy this and navigate to Essential Test and place it under the converted test.z file. So this is a converted essential test code which includes all the steps along with the test info, and also making sure that all the line of codes are indented properly with respect to the essential test format. So this is how we convert the UFT test into essential test scripts. Well, I hope this demonstration on UFT to essential test migration was informative. For more information, contact us at info@matrixsoft.com, and for further details, visit our website at www.matrixsoft.com. Thank you.